Hey everyone, welcome back to the running journey. I'm Rob. In this episode, we're heading to the streets of London, England. You guys know I've been chasing this goal for a while, the elusive sub 3 hour marathon. Now, I have a sub 3 marathon, but it is a cheater, a sub 3 marathon. I did it on a downhill course. I don't really count it. I want a real sub 3 marathon. And as you guys know, I want this sub 3 at a major, and I want them at all the majors. So I poured everything into this, months of training. Early mornings, dialed in nutrition, recovery, pacing, mindset. I had a plan, all leading to this day. And I guess the question is, would I rise above the pressure and pull it off, or would I crumble under the weight of my own expectations? Those that know me know I crapped the bed the last couple times at majors, and I didn't do well. So, marathons are hard. My brother always says, speaking of my brother, he is here with me in this episode. We break it all down, the travel, the race plan, the chaos, the crowd at the Tower Bridge. By the way, these races, oh my God, most ever finishers at a marathon ever. Also, the London Marathon had the women's world record, and I actually saw her run and talk about that. It's emotional, it's raw, it's real, it's the full story. Episode 115 of the running journey. Let's go, baby. This is one of my all-time greats and a memory I will never, ever forget. Hey, Charlie, did you get a haircut?
No.
Oh, I got one right before my race. Felt like $1 million.
Yeah, I know. That was my biggest mistake from Boston, I think.
Extra hair.
Well, no, you gotta get a haircut before a big race. It just puts you in that mind frame.
Well, it's like before a big sales meeting. They always say, "Look good, feel good, perform
yeah,
good."
Exactly. New tape job in hockey.
New tape job on a hockey stick. That is real though, because it feels so much better with a tape
once
job.
a year. I do get one. Yep.
Feels good. Okay, what are we doing? We talking about this race or what?
Did the show start or what?
Yeah, it started. I started. This is us recording an episode. I'll do a pre-intro. So
wait. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about the London Marathon. You must be on cloud 9, but we're not gonna get into that yet. Just want you to start with your travel.
Oh my God! So I recorded the podcast with you last week.
Yeah.
And I heard you talk about travel, and you're like, I wish I would. It's a long travel. I was a little tired. I know you didn't say this, and you're not using excuses at all. It's not what you did, but it got me thinking. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm flying out Thursday. I'm going to get there Friday afternoon. Like, what? It's
really. I thought last week was like just an excuse fest. That's kind of how it felt to me. But anyways,
for who? For you?
For me, yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay, good.
No.
Good.
So here's the thing about last week. I regret how I handled that podcast episode. I know you don't care, and you're going to tell me to shut up. But what I should have done is tell you, like, stop being so freaking hard on yourself. Like you sound, anyways, and you're gonna say
that's how I roll. I am very hard on myself. I have high standards for myself.
And if I would have said that to you, I was worried that you'd be like, "Shut up, just stop. You don't get it. You didn't screw up this race." And then I would have said, "Yeah, I did. I bombed Boston. I bombed New York. I bombed most of my races lately." Yeah. So I wish I would have been more forceful with you and telling you that 310 is okay. It's a good race, whatever.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
Yeah. So I don't like how that episode played out. So I wish, because then people were texting me afterwards, our listeners.
Is Charles, is he going to survive the week?
Is Charlie okay? Do we need to send in a wellness check? Wellness check on Charlie? Someone go check on Charlie. So maybe I should have been more forceful in my opinion, but I was like, I knew how competitive you were. And I was like, I don't want to tell him that because he'll be like, shut up, you don't get it.
Yeah, but I tried to keep saying, like, it's not a bad time. Like, it's not a bad. I was hoping to do better. That's all.
Yeah. And that's okay. Okay. I re-listened to it. I listened to it for the first time on the plane ride back. And I was like, okay, it's not as bad as I remembered. I thought you were more upbeat towards the end of the episode there. And anyways, it was. So anyways, I listened. It was not an excuse fest, Charlie. That's not what it was. I listened to your thoughts about travel, and I hung up, and I was like, I went to Funk, Derek, on the other side there, and I said, we're leaving on Thursday. I'm going to get there. He's like, what are you doing? And he doesn't know anything about running, but he's like, isn't that a little tight for a race to travel overnight? I was like, yeah, you're right. So I looked at flights. They had flights for pretty cheap. So I booked a flight. I was like, I'm going the day early. Screw this. So I booked a flight a day early. And I got to tell this other story. Can I tell this other story about the flight?
Yeah.
So
this is your show.
it'll be less time about running, but more time about travel stories. So I book the flight and then I call and I'm like, can I change my flight? And like, oh no, you booked a basic fare. It's non-transferable. I'm like, yeah, they're right. That's on me. I took the risk by booking the basic flight. You don't get the perks. So you pay more. It's insurance, or you book the basic. I chose the basic. All right, I'm out of luck. I get it. I'll book another flight. Like, sure. Here, yeah, book this one. Yeah. And I booked it. And then I'm like, she's like, what about your return? I was like, oh, I don't need a return. I already have one. And they're like, oh no, that one's no good. I was like, what do you mean it's still good? Yeah, the moment you miss that flight on the way out, the entire rest of your itinerary gets canceled. Like, that makes no sense. I paid for the return. I paid for both legs of the flight. I want my return flight. She's like, no, you don't have a return flight. So I was like, that makes no sense. Can I talk to your manager? And it was late. And she's like, sure.
Hey, Rob.
Yeah, no, there was no manager on shift. So I was like, well, that's absurd. So I just had a flight out. So the next day I called again. Now I'm traveling this day. I'm traveling Wednesday. So the day after we recorded. So I talked to the manager and they're like, no, that's the rules. New Air Canada policy. The moment because what happens is, I guess people, they do what's called leg jumping, and they book it's cheaper to book on some flights to book a trip to, I don't know, somewhere and just take the first leg of it and not get the whole trip. So they don't want people doing that. It screws up their system. She explained it all to me. I was like, you mean to tell me I would show up at the airport? Had I not known this, I would have just showed up and I would have not had a flight. She's like, yeah, you wouldn't have had a flight. Okay. So I'm like, well, book me a return flight then. So I had to book a return flight. So I had to book a whole other flight. Anyways, I'm on my way to the airport and I'm like, felt bad about how much I spent, but I was like, you know what? In the grand scheme of things, I want that day early. Flights were relatively cheap. I get to the airport, flight's delayed 4 hours. So now I'm like, you're being rerouted and here's your new boarding passes and you're going to show up tomorrow at the exact same flight I would have showed up.
Did you have 2 boarding passes for the same flight?
I would have had 2 boarding passes for the same flight.
Oh, you canceled your first one?
I hadn't canceled it yet because I wanted to make sure.
Okay.
Well, you can't even cancel it. Well, sorry. To clarify, you can cancel it. You get your taxes back. You don't get the full fare back. You just get the taxes.
Right. So did you feel like you would have had 2? You should have 2 boarding passes at this point.
I had 1 boarding pass for Wednesday, 1 for Thursday.
Right.
But I took the Wednesday one. I got to the airport delayed. Now they're like, you now have 2 boarding passes for Thursday.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Once they got canceled. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, that's useless. I'm just going to cancel the flight I just booked because you have 24 hours to cancel a flight. Okay. And I got 100% of my money back and I flew on my original plane. Anyways, long story short, I'm now back on my plane and I'm a little bit in Charlie mode, pre-excusing. I got screwed on the travel and this is ridiculous. And that flight out, I
did text, like, I felt like it was different. Like, I feel like you had a buffer in terms of your fitness. Like, I felt like for me, everything had to be perfect. And for you, like, it didn't need to be perfect because you had more of a fitness buffer, I would call it.
Yeah, as it turns out, I had a lot of fitness buffer, as it turns out. I didn't know, because you never know when you run marathons. You never know. That's the one thing I'm realizing. You have no idea what shape you're in. Like, you don't know if you could run a 3:05 or a 3:10 today. You're guessing based on what? On how you felt last year when you ran it. And you're comparing data, but you really don't know. You're comparing data. Anyways, so I got on this plane.
I think it's not. I think you, like, I would argue that I do know, but I would also argue that within 3 days it can change. Yes. So what you do know for today, I feel like had I ran it a week before, I probably would have had a better time. I probably wouldn't have had 3, but I would have been close. Just because I was in a better mindset for some reason. I don't know. Yeah. But like, it can change from day to day we'll
call that the 777 lesson, right?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
so obvious to us during those, like from one day to the next, you're like 30 minutes faster, 20 minutes faster. So anyways, I wasn't, I had a buffer and I was feeling good. And I was so excited. I had a crew with me, entourage with me. I had Derek, Marco, and Mini Grains. And those guys were first time in London, all three of them. So like London is, but the overnight flight to London, my God, I forgot how miserable it is to travel overnight. Like it's not fun. You're in a chair the whole time and I had a miserable time on the flight out. I was trying to read so that I would fall asleep. I didn't want to watch TV because it's going to be the blue screen of death and it's going to keep me up. And I'm trying to read. And my Garmin says I got like an hour of sleep, but I felt like I got zero sleep. Maybe I'm sure I got some, but it was just, so you get to London and now it was like 1 or 2 p.m. and Joe's in a wheelchair. So we're wheeling him around everywhere because he shattered his leg. So we can't go to all these places that we can, but anyway, so the Friday night, what did we do that first night? We did so many things. We went to a musical. Yeah, we went to see Back to the Future again.
Was it better in London than in New York?
Oh, it was so good. Those guys were just, they're like, a musical? Really? I'm like,
did Mini Grains love it?
Did
Mini Grains love it?
They loved it. They loved it so much that we made a list at dinner and we're like, next musical we're going to see tomorrow. And we ended up going to see Mamma Mia the next day. It was awesome. So the Friday night we went to see a stand-up comedian and I was like, I needed to sleep. So we went to see a musical, stand-up comedian, and like I needed to sleep bad. So finally I'm like, yes, I'm going to go. You guys go out. I'm going to bed. They slept all afternoon. I went and what did I do? I went and got my bib.
Saturday night or Friday night?
This is the Friday night.
Yeah.
So then they slept. So I went to bed at like 10 o'clock after the stand-up comedian. And I was like, yes, I'm going to sleep. They're out still. So I need to sleep. So I slept till 4 a.m. when the door opened and those guys came into the Airbnb. Like they were coming home from the bar. And I had a hard time sleeping. So I was up. Now I'm up. It's 4 o'clock. I'm like, I should go for a jog or something. I couldn't get my sleep. So anyways, then the Saturday we went to see Mamma Mia, and we went to, what else did we do? We went around on a tour. Anyways, it was a fun time in New York. Got my bib, saw the 777 crew, Joe and Ted. I didn't see Wyatt. I didn't see Becca, but I hung out with Joe and Ted and we reminisced about how fun it was. And they tried to sell me on some more races. But then obviously the Saturday night, I had a hotel. So I was going to sleep not in the Airbnb. I was going to sleep in the hotel. So I went to the hotel. I got there early. I'm in bed at 9:30. And I took your advice, Charlie. So I want to thank you for this. The overhead, the decision-making, like the weight of making decisions on race day, sometimes it's too much, right? You just want someone to make the decisions for you.
Yeah.
And so I went downstairs when I checked I went to get I was on this travel package, right? So they're like, the bus leaves at 7 for you.
Okay.
Rob, you leave at 9:20. Your race starts at 9:35. You leave at 7. And here's your bracelet. Show up downstairs at 7. Breakfast is at 6. It's open. It's free. And I was like, perfect. That's what I'm going to do. I didn't even think about it. I didn't even bother to check the subway or whatever. I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. They have a bus. It's going to take me right to the start line. I don't have to think about it. So I got up at 6:30, went downstairs. I had my breakfast. I didn't sleep at all the night before. Zero sleep. And I know that I didn't sleep because I had a stupid clock that was facing me and I kept seeing the time all night. And I shouldn't say I didn't sleep. I slept like from 5:30 to my alarm, which is crazy because by then I was almost like, okay, might as well just get up now. But I actually got some sleep towards the end. Did my oatmeal, got on the bus. I felt so good because I was like, I have no decisions to make. I'm just going to show up and it's going to be right time. And that was you said that in our podcast. You're like, I wish I would have just showed up early and I wish I would have just, none of this, try to cut it close and make up my own decision as to what time. Just, you said I'd rather be there 2 hours early than to be there tight. It's exactly what you said, right? Something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Now that I've experienced like a super, super tight start, I don't want that again. I'd rather have the 2 hours, and it helps me. Like for me, it would help me like get psyched and just get mentally
Yeah.
prepared for it, right?
I enjoyed my hour and 40 minutes on the lawn at the park I was at waiting for the corral to open. I
Yeah.
loved it. So I
Yeah.
showed up. I got to tell this story. You're on a bus, coach. They brought me there. I got to the start at 7:45. It was like a 45-minute bus.
Yeah.
And I was like the first ones there, I think, because I was in wave 1. So there's three colors, and I was in wave 1 of the second color. So I was like,
how do they decide the waves? Is it by, do you have a time? You have a seating time?
self-declared time.
So you put your Chicago time in there, or you put
No,
your...
I estimated finish time. I put 2:59:59.
Okay, so that must have helped. That must have gone well then, right? Because you're
Oh
how
my
was
God. It was
how was
so
the
great.
how was the pace at the beginning? Sorry,
Yeah.
let's finish. Let's finish.
Yeah.
getting to
I
the
want to
race.
tell this story about the porta potties because I
Yeah.
got there and there was kind of no one there, but I could see the buses were starting to show up and I could see people.
The earlier starts too is easier. I feel like there's less people around too when you start.
Yeah. So I get to my pink corral, area, waiting area. It reminded me of New York. It was a great setup. Reminded me of
Yeah.
New York, huge field, and
Yeah.
you just find a spot on the grass and you wait. I
Yeah.
actually loved, and I went to the porta potties. I'm like, not one person in line at the porta potties. I was like, I should probably use them right now. So I went, I took care of business. By the time I exited the porta potties, the lineup was like 100 deep. So I went to the porta potties. There was no one in line.
Perfect timing. Wow.
Perfect timing. And then I was like, but there was a lot of porta potties. So anyways, I'm like, I'm just going to go find my spot on the fence, understand what I need to do here. Okay. I'm here. This is my corral. Okay. So I parked myself right next to corral. Like the doors would open for the corral.
Mm-hmm.
So I was ready. And then obviously I knew I'd have to pee again. And I took the Charlie advice, like make sure you pee. And I peed again. And now the lineup for the porta potties started like the U's all the way. And I could see that it was like the line was starting to get infinite because all of a sudden it was packed in there. You couldn't move. It went from
Yeah, because there's like a bubble. There's kind of like a bell curve in there.
Well,
right?
anyone who's in waves 1, 2, 3 had to be there, and then 4, 5, 6, 7 are getting there
And
early.
then some people showing up early, and then
Yeah.
So the advantage of like what I realized in Boston last year is wave 1. There's way less people at the beginning.
Yeah. I got there. I could sit anywhere I wanted. So I took a nice spot against the fence. I laid down. I was cozy. I was comfortable. I started thinking about my race. I reviewed my splits. I was like, what are you going to run? How are you going to do it for that little downhill part? I was just like, I was nothing to do except think about my race, memorize I had the bracelet for the splits on my wrist, which was the coolest thing ever. I'm never doing a race without that again, by the way. I'll order some online if I have to. It was so valuable for me. I'm really good at math. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead here, and you're really good at math. But there's something to be said about just not having like.
I had it put in on my watch, and I put the course being 26.4 miles, so that I would put my pace on my watch, and that kind of worked. But when I looked and I was working so hard, and I was 13 seconds behind at mile 8, I kind of knew it was over. So I didn't look at it once after. I looked at it once at the halfway point, and then I didn't look at it once after.
I liked having it. So I had my bracelet. I was going through the race. And I remember on the way in, I saw the urinals, male urinals, and they had a sign for females.
Right before the beginning?
Yeah. Well, in the same area. Okay. So I just went, there were 2 lines. I was like, what's the line is this? That's the regular porta potty, which was 1,000 deep.
Is it like in the city, or where are you starting a bit outside the city, or?
London. London is like so sprawling, right?
Yeah.
You're in the city, but I'd say you're 12 miles east of like Big Ben and like downtown London, I would say.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where you're starting. Just on the other side of the river, south side of the river, they call it Greenwich or Greenwich, I think they call it. So that's kind of where you start.
Where the prime meridian.
The prime meridian, yeah. And that's where it starts. So I did the urinals. And moving a million miles an hour, right? Because there's just so many urinals and it's so fast.
Yeah.
So you do the urinals, I peed, and then I was like, I think I need to do one more pee.
You always got to do an extra one, yeah.
So I was like, do I wait, go all the way back to the line, or do I just stand here and wait? So I stood there and waited. And while it took me maybe 5 minutes to get everything out. And I stood there for 5 minutes in the urinal while everything got out. Now I was confident I had an empty bladder. I was really confident. So I was like, I was ready to go.
Good. That's good. Yeah.
I went to the start line. I went to then they opened the corral like 10 minutes before, maybe. They checked me. I was like, because my spot was so good, I was the first in the corral for wave 1. So by the time we funneled down to the start, I don't know if you checked my start time. I started 6 seconds after the gun went off
after the official start.
Yeah, 6 seconds.
No way! Wow, that's amazing. So there was a lot of fast people in front of you, I would imagine.
Well, okay, so I don't know if the other wave was faster than me, but I definitely noticed that I was getting passed a lot in the beginning of the race.
Yeah,
because I guess there were some people that were 240s or 230s or.
Oh, and some people are just slightly behind where they're supposed to be, right?
But
people just go too fast at the beginning.
And people go too fast. But I wasn't worried about it. I was like, everyone here is doing a 3-hour marathon-ish. So like I wasn't worried about it. I'd seen on Reddit that that's what they were doing. So I just started head down and just go. This is what you got to do. Let's go. And all of a sudden you get excited.
So you were pretty relaxed, excited at that point.
I was very relaxed and I really enjoyed that 2 hours to just do nothing. And I've come a long way on my opinion on that. And I loved that time. I was relaxed. I did the lap time every time I would cross the mile, and I had my bracelet.
You did? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't care what my pace said on my watch. Not that I didn't care.
You trusted the miles.
Trusted the miles instead of the watch time, but I used the watch time.
I think the majors you can do.
Yeah, except for one part, but yeah, it was, and I knew pretty early that it'd be about 100th more. Like it ended up being 26.4, I think. Which is about every mile.
Usually my marathons are around 26.4. Yeah.
Yeah. And after 5 miles, I was at 5.05. Yeah. After 7 miles, I was at 7.07. So it was like comfortably 100th more.
So what was your watch saying your pace was, like 6:47?
It was 5 seconds, roughly.
5 much.
Yeah.
6:45. Oh, wow.
4 to 5 seconds. No, not 45. So 52 is exactly the pace. So 47.
I know, but on your, I guess, on the London Marathon app, it said you were running 650s pretty much all the way.
Yeah.
Till the last 5K, you sped up a little bit, or the last.
Right. So maybe I was 46. Anywhere between 45s and 47s is kind of what I would see when I would look.
Yeah.
And then I would just use the miles. As I would cross the miles, I'd look at it and I had my bracelet and I would just, how many seconds ahead am I?
Yeah.
And I just wanted to build, like, all I wanted was like a 2-second buffer per mile.
Yeah. Which is, to me, that's like, it's kind of, it's making sure you're not banking, but at the same time, making sure you're not over and then panic for being over. Right.
So to me, I didn't want a panic moment, and I had a few minor panic moments where it's like, holy shit, chillax.
And then you run 1 mile at 6:20, and then you're like, to me, that kind of happened to me in Boston a little bit, where I ran 2 miles at like 10 seconds faster than I was running, and then that, well, I would never, but it gassed me a little bit. So you don't want those miles either, right?
No, and that's the one thing I'm probably the most proud of is how much time I spent thinking of this strategy and figuring it out and reminding myself not to panic if I was a little off on one side or another, and just how I would run this race.
Did you check your watch every 5K to see where you're at, or?
So where I was at relative to?
I during
like
marathon,
a rolling 5K?
So there's always the 5K markers. Like
they had
kind of like seeing, they have them every K too, but I like seeing my 5K times. I knew that for a 3 hour, it's about 21:15 is your 5K time. So it's kind of it's a feedback that gives you kind of more of a bigger picture than just the last mile you're in. Right.
Yeah. I was using it too. I was trying to be, I think it's more like 21:20 if I'm not mistaken, but I was targeting 21:15 or better.
But 21:15 gets you under 3 hours, right? So
I was checking it, but I was doing a rolling 3 mile average in my head.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing. So
like the last 3 miles, basically.
last 3 miles. Yeah.
But you must have been very, very consistent. So I'm gonna do a bit of a spoiler, but you ran your first half in 1:29:40. So over 13 miles, you were 20 seconds under. So that's pretty much
kind of
perfect.
exactly what I was
It's
hoping.
it's not even 2 seconds a mile below pace, right?
Yeah, I was, as much as I wanted to go, Charlie, like I wanted to go so
You
bad.
must have, well, so that took a lot of discipline. Like, how did you manage to stay disciplined? Because I have a hard time when I'm feeling good to not go like, okay, so 2 is reasonable, and 5 seems reasonable, but 5, there's a big difference between 5 and 2. And for me, it's hard to reel it in when it feels kind of, the few times where this has happened to me where it feels kind of easy, right? So how are you able to do that?
And like it happened 100% because we've talked about this so much, and I've been prepping for this. That's why I'm proud of this race, is the mental effort that I put in the last 4 months thinking of how I would run this race.
Yeah.
And when I couldn't sleep the night before, and I was reliving the conversation you and I had last week on the podcast, where you're like, if you just get on a treadmill and just like, yes, you're maybe sacrificing a 2:55, but if you're feeling it that day, you will run a sub 3. And I was just thinking that, just get your sub 3, Rob. That's what you came here for.
Yeah.
And it was hot. Like it was very hot. Like we got a heat warning email the day before. Heat warning in London. Wow. They don't get heat, right? So 20 degrees and they're losing their minds. So I just said, Rob, just do your thing. Just 2 seconds, not 5, not 0. 2 seconds is what I was aiming for. Now,
like 650s, basically. Yeah.
650s, but it had to be more like 644, 646s because
on
of
your
the
watch.
Because of the 1%. Yeah. But 650s when I would hit the timer. And I thought the miles were accurate. I was just going by feel. And if I was like 3 or 4 seconds over on a mile, I'd slightly increase.
But when I looked at the London Marathon app, your 5K splits, we were all within 10 seconds, except for one. There's one anomaly, which I think is when you sped up, when you started feeling good. And you got one kind of slow one that maybe you thought you were behind and you sped up. I think maybe that's what happened. But besides that one,
they were all at 21:10 to 21:20, right? That was kind of what I was
exactly right within that range.
My first 5K 21:09, the next one 21:20, next one 21:16, next one 21:15. That takes me to the half. So the first 4 were like exactly the same.
So that's like 20K at like pretty much steady pace, which is really the best way to run a marathon, energy wise, right?
Yeah, there's a huge downhill on kilometer 4 or 5. Yeah, huge, big downhill.
So that was like first. Yeah. Well, you got to take that.
I'm taking it. So that's where I got 10 seconds. Yeah. And then I literally slowed my effort for the next, for the rest of it to not be that much faster.
But that's when
bank the energy.
That's when a marathon's going to go well, when you have to force yourself to slow down.
And I can't believe I did it. I can't, now that I'm sitting here, how bad I wanted to go.
And maybe you could have probably ran. I saw your heart rate wasn't very high. Like you could have probably ran faster.
Yeah. And we could talk about that later and how to, do I?
But if the goal was to break 3 hours, this gave you the best chance to do it.
Yeah. All I kept thinking about was you have one mission today. It's to break 3. That's it. At 257 or 254, they don't matter.
Yeah.
You have one mission, and that's what I wanted. And so I took those free miles and I banked the energy. I slowed down. I was like, and people were passing me. Yeah. And I was like, I'll get you guys. And I really liked the wave I was in. Like they broke the record at this marathon for most people ever to finish. Like is the most attended marathon ever. Right. So
okay.
Highest number of finishers ever in a marathon. So you know how New York was busy, Charlie? Like this was
mile 13 was 3 wide.
Yeah. And there were many places here, not many. There were some places where I would go to 1 lane.
Oh, wow.
Instead of 2 lanes, instead of both sides of the road.
Oh, yeah. Well, that helps that you were at the front though. Cause
thank God I was at the front.
Because I remember the huge difference, wave 2 at Boston versus wave 1 for me anyways.
Yeah.
It just seemed easier.
I think I would have broke 3 at Chicago. Now that I think about it, like it's probably worth 3 minutes. 2.5 minutes. Anyways, I'm going to do it this year, so I'm not too worried about it.
What's worth 3 minutes? The traffic?
I started with the 4-hour marathoners, right?
You think it's that much? I don't.
I don't know.
I think maybe a minute.
I'm hanging on to that. It's excuses.
Okay. But okay, 3 minutes. Yeah.
At mile 12, I got to tell this story. There's a part where I'm going out, and then you come back.
Like, is it an out? It's an out and back course.
There's one. So first 12 miles are point to point, and then the next 8 are a loop, and you get back to that spot, and then you finish into kind of Big Bend and a
different spot. You finish.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, you're crossing a path. And when I was waiting in the corral, I was chit-chatting with a lady, and she said, hopefully we might see the leaders when we cross.
Oh, they'll be crossing the other way? Do they go under or over, or you actually go in the same level?
No, you're like, there's cones in the middle, but they're coming this way, we're going that way.
So you have to, wow, like when there's a lot of traffic, like how does it work?
Like separate, like a meridian divider. I don't think there's I think it's like 4 traffic lanes, 2 lanes going that way, 2 lanes coming back. Does that make sense? Am I explaining it properly?
Yeah.
So
maybe. I think I get it. So it's like a bow tie.
Well, think of Pembina Highway. Highway.
Yeah.
One way that way, the other way that way.
Yeah. Okay.
So like I could see the runners, and I saw the leader, the female leader who broke the record. She had a motorcycle next to her, and so she Guinness record.
Can't even bike that fast.
So, 2:15 she did. 2 hours and 15 minutes. Wow. Anyways, I was so pumped to see her, and she did it in heat. So that record could be beaten for sure. So anyways, miles 12, and then you just keep going. And I did the half, I crossed, I felt good. And at this point I'm like, I think I could probably go now. Like I'm 13 miles in, like I'm feeling good. Like, why don't I just start going? And then the only thing I had to battle was stop being an idiot. Just focus on your goal and just take the easy miles. Because up until here, in my mind, it was like 100% that I was getting it. 100%.
Well, I mean, you could have probably went there if you wanted to, but.
And then in kilometer.
How much do you trust? Marathons are hard, right?
I know.
How much do you trust your instinct?
So I was like, how much do I trust my instinct? And I was thinking of the Miami race where I pushed like 160 heart rate, like the last 2 hours. And I hadn't even touched 160 for the first half. I hadn't even touched it.
Yeah.
So I felt good. And then I had a bit of a panic when there's a couple tunnels. You go under tunnels, and
your watch doesn't work.
My watch wasn't working. I thought I was right on pace. But then when you exit the tunnel, it kind of rejigs itself and makes it right again, right? Mm-hmm. But mine didn't, or the sign was off.
Like,
probably
can
the
you
watch.
Not just wait for the next mile?
But that's what I mean. When I got to the next mile, I touched it, and all of a sudden I was like, I lost like 15 seconds or something on that mile. It was the only mile I was off. Anything close. So when you see that
could have been going up the hill, slowed you down a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know what happened, but that was the slow one at where.
Or it was slightly off. It was slightly off.
Right around 25 to 30K there. I was. So then I was like, now I was maybe 7 seconds ahead or something. Like I'd lost a bunch of time. I was like 10 seconds ahead, maybe. I was always like 20. I built up that 20-second lead, and then I wanted to just stay at 20 seconds.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go to 40 seconds. I just kind of wanted to stay at 20 seconds. And then I lost, I think I got down to 5 or 6 seconds after that mile 16.
That 1 mile that was off. Yeah.
Yeah. 16 or 17.
So then you went hard a bit. Then you picked up your pace a little bit. Well,
I just said, I'm going to gain that right back. Like the next, I said, I'll do it over 3 miles, 5 seconds per mile. Yeah. I felt good. Anyways, so then I was like, 20 is going to be when it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard at mile 20, Rob. 18, 19, 20, 21. Those are going to be hard.
Yeah, the marathon doesn't start till mile 20. Yep.
Yeah, and I got to mile 20 and I felt unreal. And I got to 21 and I felt unreal.
That's because you held back, right?
And I was like,
it reminds me a little bit of that LA one for me.
I was thinking for you, actually, it probably felt like the Vegas one when you waited for me, kind of. Not, is it Vegas or before that? Tucson.
Yeah.
We did our sub 4.
Yeah.
Right?
It felt very easy.
You were kind of coasting at the end there because you were kind of waiting for me.
Yeah. I just went hard at mile 25.
Yeah, you went hard at mile 25 and you finished like a minute ahead of me or whatever, 2 minutes ahead of me, but you waited all the way till 25 and I was struggling, but you felt good. I mean, I know my heart rate, like it was below, and it finally got over. And eventually I was like, okay, like you're not going to not do this.
But
So,
you sped up for the last few miles, the last 6
at,
miles.
at mile 22, I was like, okay,
Okay.
like this
I'm
is,
not like, so you just know sometimes, right?
I
That's
know
the
I could
part.
do 4 miles. I know I could do 4 miles at this pace. In fact, I was like, what if I had to do
You were
6:20s right now? Could I do 6:20s for 4 miles? I think I
and
can.
you were like, yes, I could probably.
So then I was like, well, then let's go. So
Yeah.
finally I said, I'm going to go. And then it was hard mentally. It was like hard mentally because now the goal has kind of disappeared and I kind of knew I had it.
Yeah,
And
that reminds me of the last mile in LA because I was like, I'm so far under. Like this is.
I know I wasn't that
What's the
far
point
ahead.
of trying?
Yeah, I knew I was going to finish with a 2:58 something, right? I was like, okay, I'm 20 seconds ahead. I'm going to shave 10, 15 seconds per mile.
Let's say you were to run that again, but let's say you wanted to break your 256.
I should have done that as a B goal.
You could have done that, I'm guessing.
Oh, I think for sure I could have, because like as soon as I finished my race, the Garmin race predictor gave me a 2:54.
Oh, so they thought you just did a jog.
I was like, what are you telling me, Garmin? You're telling me I'm a slacker? It was hard to go as hard as I should have gone the last 4 miles.
But I mean, 258 is fast.
Yeah, no, I'm ecstatic.
So
I did everything I wanted to do. I had a great day. I didn't.
Well, it's like the first time. It's like the first time you break 4. Like the best way to do it is to not go too hard. I guess same thing. Like whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a. I really wonder if qualifying for Boston or something would have been like 2:55. Could I have? I think I don't know. Could I have done it? Maybe around there. 2:56.
Sure you could have done 255.
Because it felt like I just went for a long jog. Like
I think for sure you could have done 255.
So I'm excited. I'm really excited about that because, like today's.
So you don't need to train for Chicago.
Well, I feel like I could go today and do a 3:10. Like that's how I feel right now. Like I feel so good. I've never felt this good after a marathon. Like
I wouldn't be able to do a 4:10 right now. So.
You're yeah, I don't know. So I mean, the last 4 miles, I just head down and go, and I'm looking at my watch, and it was faster, but it wasn't as fast as it probably could have been. And I was like, fuck, whatever, 2:58, 2:57. Who cares? I
mean, it's got to feel amazing. I feel like me. Does. Okay, so first of all, let's. I've got some questions, but walk me through kind of the finish and how you felt and how that was.
So the finish was almost anticlimactic. It's probably not what you want to hear.
Yeah, because you knew you had it. I know
I had it on mile like 7, 8, 9. Every mile I was doing, I was getting the dopamine release from holy shit.
But you must have been like at mile 17 is to me what I remember is the time I did. It compares to my LA one, I feel, in terms of how it felt probably, is that like at 17, you were like, I've got this. There's no way I'm not doing this type of thing. And then at mile 22, there may have been a bit of a hard, not that hard, but a little hard. And then at 25, you're like, what's the point? Like you had to kind of think of why you wanted to run.
Yeah. Why am I pushing here? I started doing how last time I broke 3 or whatever, I was starting to do 4 miles left. If I walk those miles.
Oh yeah.
Like, so I wasn't even, one time.
You can't really walk any though at that pace.
No, you can't. But at mile 24, I was like, okay, I can do 8-minute mile, whatever, 7.5-minute miles here. Like I can do a 7.5.
That's still not that much of a buffer. Most people.
No, I know. As tight as the buffer was in my head, it was like,
it was so easy. It was so easy to go down to 7:30 for you at that point.
Yeah, I just felt good, so I knew I would have it. So yes, the finish was exciting. I wish I would have kind of stopped and look around and enjoyed it a little bit more because I just had head down and I was just so focused. But I mean, we were running, you run right by Big Ben, you run like across the London Bridge and the Tower of London. And like the last stretch is really spectacular, right in front of Buckingham Palace. And then you go down, I think they call it Kensington Way or something. I forget what it's called, but it's this big street with like these big oak trees or these trees. And it's just loaded with people. And it's really, really cool. But I wasn't taking it in. I was just let's go, finish. You got this. And then I crossed and I was like I do at every marathon. I just kind of started crying for no reason. You're just crying.
Well, yeah. So I would imagine. So to me, yeah, you've done a lot of different things. You've ran across provinces. You've done Ironmans. You've qualified for Worlds at Ironmans. You've done 100-milers. Where would this accomplishment rank in that list?
I was thinking about that this morning. I was thinking like anyone who's
Because I would
listening
argue that all the other things are impressive, but this is the one that is the most impressive. And even though it's just 3 hours, to me, it takes way more sacrifice to do what you did with that 3 hours than all the other things.
Yeah, I think they're not all the same, and I think we've kind of touched on this in the past. But like 777, anyone can do that. Sorry, I'm not trying.
Well, I mean, if you have money, yes.
If you have money and you're mildly able to run, you could do a 7-hour marathon 7 times. Like it's for sure doable. So I don't count that one. That was kind of more, and even like qualifying for Ironman Worlds, like I got in on a shitty day where the time wasn't even that good, and like my time wasn't that good.
It's still not. That one's hard to do.
It is hard to do. There was a lot of sacrifice there. And I think we have a recency bias here when we think about this, because you always feel like the one you just did is unbelievable and you kind of forget. I was very proud of my first cross Manitoba run, because I didn't know if I'd be able to do that. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to run across a province. But again, you're doing it at your own pace. You're going slow. This is, I think, if someone were asking me, oh shit, you're a runner, what have you done? I think I would start with, I did a sub 3 in London. I think that's what I would say first. If ever I met someone at a cocktail party, I'd say that before I ran across Manitoba. I'd say it before I did 7.
Yeah. So I feel like, okay, so as someone who's tried to do a sub 3-hour marathon and have failed a couple times, I feel like I could run across Manitoba if I had the right circumstances.
You could.
I have no doubt that I would be able to do it. I'm not saying that's not a great accomplishment. It is an unbelievable accomplishment.
I agree with you.
But I could do it. Like
you would.
I don't know if I'll ever be able to do a 3. I think I will be, but it's going to take a good 6 months of sacrifice for me to be able to do it. Which, will I be able to be that tough mentally to do it? I don't know. And it's not sacrifice. It's just being healthy for 6 months. But
I'm so proud of that for me, like, because there were so many times where it had been so easy, and I struggle with my diet. We've talked about this before. It's diet, it's sleep. I was doing stretches at night. I was reading books so that my sleep would be better, because I knew that if I had better sleep, I'd have better performance the next day. I've never done anything like this in my life. The level of sacrifice that I did for this build, it was a shorter build because we had the 777. So I thought, I'm going to go all out for 12 weeks. And I just ate perfectly clean. Perfect. I didn't fall once. Perfectly clean. My sleep was perfect. My stretches, my hot tub like I worked. I'm so proud of
there's a lot of sacrifice that goes into running a 3-hour marathon, and the guys that do 220s, I mean,
they're on a different level. And
so
I'm proud.
Anyway,
I'm very proud of this.
I have incredible respect for what you've done, and I really want to do it too. But I know that it's not easy. So
thank you. I felt really, 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 really good. I was just, and I didn't really have anyone to share with when I was out there, because I was like, those guys care. They're really, like, they're good buddies, and they could see that I was happy, and they were happy for me. But I was like, I just wanted to talk to you or to whatever, my parents, or to someone, just to hear them say, like, how cool was it? How was it to finish? And so anyways, I loved it. I love the experience so much. And it just reminded me of why I do this. And I put it in my Strava post. I was like, yeah, the journey's awesome, but like the journey is even more awesome if you can culminate it with these types of things.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Like
this journey was so fun for me.
Yeah. So I think that's really what probably helped you in accomplishing that goal, is that you enjoyed the journey, I think. because doing things that are hard, you can only do them if you enjoy that journey. Like, I mean, or else you won't get it. You won't get there, because there's a lot of things that you have to do that are hard to get there, right? So, anyways, you should be proud.
Thank you.
So I was going to ask you then, you've accomplished something, and I guess to me, it's on par with a lot of other things that you've accomplished. So are you worried about kind of the next few days and the next few weeks about kind of that the post-race blues? It's a real thing. We all know it's a real thing. So I even had it for Boston, even though I sucked at Boston. But
it's crazy how like I'm an adult. I'm 43 years old. I've done a lot of things in my life, and I can't sleep before a freaking race. Like, I'm so nervous and excited for this, how much this means to me. Like, what kind of like, what is wrong with me? But in a way, it's pretty cool that this means so much to me and no one else, and I can measure myself to it. So I was so amped for this build, and I've talked about it at length. I felt so lucky to not have been injured, and I'm thinking now that it's probably because I focused so hard on my sleep, diet, nutrition that I avoided injury, maybe, I don't know, and stretching and like all the work I did. Yes, I'm worried about a little post crash, because I just flew in. I got back last night, and now it's like you're back at the office. And I was supposed to be in Nashville this week. I was supposed to go to Nashville for this, but I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't know. I'm kind of against traveling to the US and all that right now. And I was like, I don't want to go to the US. And then I realized, holy shit, that might put me in like, at least if you go to Nashville, your mind is off.
It's off of it. Yeah.
But now, like today, I was thinking about, like, I slept in. I didn't get to the office till late. So I'm certainly moving slowly, and I ordered a gluten-free loaf yesterday, and I ate the whole thing. Gluten-free loaf of cake. I hadn't tasted cake in forever. It was so
sounds great, except for the gluten-free part. But
yeah, everyone wants gluten. Ideally, you want as much gluten as possible in your life, but I had to do it. So I'm worried, Charlie. And then I just started today. I was just like texting Patrick. I said, "Can I do Chicago, New York? Is that doable? They're 3 weeks apart. What do you think? Can I do sub 3 at both?" And like starting to look at my 100 miles.
It's a jog for you now, sub 3. It's just a jog. So
starting to look at 100 miler for next year. I'm starting to get it. So I had to.
Hey, so one thing I did see in July, there's a backyard in Winnipeg. Not the same one.
Where?
I don't know. I just saw it on Facebook. So
would you do that just for fun?
I think it's a bad idea for me to do.
I think so too.
But it does look like fun.
I want my next backyard to be like the one where we're going to attempt to qualify for Team Canada, and we're going to try to do 48 hours. If you want to do that with me.
No, I would want to put my whole heart and soul into it if I do it.
Like, so it's going to be an A race.
If I do July, it's not going to be that.
No, and we're going to kind of half-ass it, and we're not going to want to quit because there's no end. So we're going to push ourselves too far that we should. And we could say we're just going to do
I wonder what the training, like, what do you want to get fast for that? So that it's easy?
I think you got to get fast. I think it's like you got to get fast so it's easy.
And then part of it is, I don't know what.
I can run 7.5 minute miles right now, like in zone 2, almost like 7:45s right now in zone 2. It's crazy because I've done so much speed work.
Yeah.
So like when I was doing that, I was thinking, imagine running 9-minute miles.
Yeah.
Like I could probably run those for a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'm going to do one thing I want to do. I'm going to do is my, you told me this last year, actually. Last year I ran 100K just for fun on my sober anniversary.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to do it again just to remind myself, just going to do it. Spend 10 hours with myself and leave some water bottles along the way. And I'm going to do that, I think, on July 2nd.
Okay.
So I'm going to do that. I think that's the day of the maybe go do that instead.
Is the backyard. I think that might be the day.
Okay. I'll look at it
No,
But I
it's
mean,
July 26th, I think.
okay, July 26th. I'm in PI, so I'm running across PI. So I have that, but I literally felt literally, oh my God, I'm starting to sound like my kids throwing the word literally anywhere that this doesn't mean literally. I was literally dying. No, you weren't dying. I was looking at like races to do this week and next week and the next month because I'm like, I'm holy shit. Like I need to, I had put it off. Kind of like
So
you do, right?
last week when I got back, I was like, did the same thing. I signed up for a 5K
Which
on the
one?
weekend.
Oh, yesterday or this
Yeah,
weekend?
Saturday, but I came to Saturday. I'm like, I can't run. I can't do a 5K. So I like didn't even. I just did run club because I was like, I was not in the mood to race. So it's weird how, like when I got back, I was like, I need a race. And then by the time the weekend came, I was like, I can't run. I can't do a 5K. So I just did run club instead, which was probably better for me. So anyways, I'm giving you a warning that our race this weekend, I'm gonna suck so bad. So we'll see.
Are you excited for it?
No,
I think you'll do good.
I guess I have to. I've run like once since I gotten back from Boston.
But you're just recovering. You've not lost the urge or the desire to run. You want to do stuff. You're taking your time to get back.
Yeah, I don't know.
Are you done running maybe?
No, I'm not done running. I just
it was tough after Boston.
It's so hard to do the things that you need to do to run a sub 3 or to be your best. And I was like questioning, do I have the drive and motivation to do it still? I like running. The running is the easy part. Getting out and running, I can do that every day. It's the other parts that I'm questioning so I'm a little down, I guess. I don't know.
You need a reminder from me to tell you how freaking unbelievable that mountain was at the finish line, that you finally got there. I've been waiting forever to get a real sub 3 and I got one. And it was like,
yeah.
Oh my God, it feels so good. So
yeah.
Better than anything.
I am looking at potentially doing the Manitoba road race provincials, but I need to buy a bike.
You need a road bike for that?
Or rent a bike. I don't know.
No tri bikes?
Not a lot of tri bikes, but yeah.
What is that, like 100K? I don't even know what that is.
100K, but the first 10K is up a hill.
So you have a lead, hopefully.
Well, no, I don't know. It's going to be, I'm like a rookie, so who knows? We'll see. That's what I think that would be fun to get me through. The thing is, so Ironman training, I think if I do well on my Ironman training, it could put me in shape to run close to 3 in Chicago. That's kind of the hope I have.
When is the Ironman? Take me through the dates again.
It's in September, mid-September.
When is Chicago? October 12th?
I just like 5 weeks after, I think.
Yeah.
So 4 weeks after.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Or you think you won't have a chance to do?
No, something? I think I will have a chance if I do some really good training, and I do the other things that I need to do.
What if you do some sort of hybrid training where, like, you're not going to win the worlds, right? What if you told Patrick, like, the worlds are my A race, but I want to build speed work in at the same time to prep me for a sub 3?
I think no, I want to focus on Nice.
Okay.
I think it naturally, when you do triathlon training and you have the base that I do, I think that there's going to be lots of speed in there. So I think I'll build the base doing the bike, like 5-6 hour bike rides. And then it's a lot higher percentage of your running is close to threshold when you're doing an Ironman.
Are you excited about the Ironman training?
Yes, I went on. So the one thing I did was I I didn't really have a workout planned yesterday, I guess 2 days ago. And I just decided at the last second, I'm like, I'm taking my bike out and I'm going.
To Birdsville.
And I just went down Henderson and it was raining and it was freezing and I just loved it. So I am excited to do more biking. The swimming sucks. The swimming sucks though.
Oh, it doesn't ever. It sucks until you're done, which is weird. Keeps you coming back. Okay, so
what about you? What's next? So I know we got our half.
Oh, so I got this weekend planned.
Well, you got your cross province run, I guess, right? So
yeah, and I also have that 100K Suffer on the Centennial, which
I thought you weren't doing that. I thought you
did. I say I wasn't doing it?
I thought maybe you weren't. Yeah.
Nah,
so you are doing it.
It's 2 weeks from now, a week and a half.
Okay, good.
I'll ask Patrick what he thinks there, but I'm not gonna race it. But if I
think you'll do well.
Just nice and easy. I'm not gonna beat Ihor, but if I can, have a good day.
You should just stay on his tail and see if you can keep up.
Apparently
he's got like a 16-minute 5K time.
No, I know. So I know I'm not going to win it or anything, but I wanted to experience this race. It's been a few years. So now I'm going to do it this, unless Patrick says it's not a good idea for whatever reason there, but I haven't told him yet. I was pulling a Charlie. Remember when I would ask you what you were doing after Boston and you would tell me I'm not thinking about anything after Boston? That's what I was doing. I wasn't thinking about.
I feel like those are the races that go the best, even though like you're putting all your eggs in one basket, but at the same time, you're really, really focused.
You're focused. You're getting a much bigger high or a much bigger low, depending. And this is the dichotomy right here.
I haven't really done that. I don't think I've done that kind of focus since I think
the Boston qualifier.
Since Boston last year, I think I had that focus last.
This was my most intense focus ever for me.
Yeah,
for sure. Like my wife was getting annoyed with me. By the way, I got to give a shout out to my wife. On the weekend, she did this charity boxing match. Did you see?
Yeah, so she's boxing. Cool.
Yeah, well, she's been doing this for 4 months, so she's like. She's amazing. Like me a little bit, I guess. She like gets her idea that she wants to do something and then she goes and does it and trains and tries to whatever. Same way as I do it. She did high rock. So she wanted to box. And I told her like, you're going to get punched in the face. You realize that like this is real punches in the face. And she's like, yeah, I want to do it. And then she would go and she was training, I want to say 4 days a week at the club, plus the cardio, so it was a lot, plus her personal training with Ben. So she was doing a lot of training. Anyways, her fight was on Saturday night, Sunday morning for me.
Did she get the win or?
No, she lost I think she won one of the rounds and lost the other 2. So it's 3 rounds. And she didn't get the win, but she looked good boxing and she held her own. So I think she was very happy and she did well. But yeah, my wife would get annoyed with me. I was so focused on this. I was so focused on this, like, well, I can't eat that. Like, I would just be like, okay, I can't eat that. So I was just frying up whatever I was eating. So it was fun to be this focused. So now I have that. And then I have my cross province run, but my cross province run PI, I'm doing 14 marathons, 14 days is in July. I feel like that's way too far away. It's like 3 months.
Well, we're in May, so you're a month and a half. Not a big deal.
No, July. Late July. 25th of July. It's almost 3 months. Well, today's the 29th.
July's the 7th month. May is the 5th. So yeah,
today's April 29th. It's July 25th.
Oh yeah, so 3 months. Almost 3 months.
Almost 3 months. Or maybe 2, yeah. So I don't know. I got to think this through. I got to sit down. I got to start planning because I need to have stuff this summer. Like I got that barefoot triathlon. Well,
there'll be all the triathlons. There'll be Pepe Jerry Run, which everyone's got to join.
Sign up for the Pepe Jerry Run if you haven't yet. Big half marathon, 5K, 10K in La Brocquerie, Manitoba.
There's our big rematch against Carol and John.
Oh, when is that?
June sometime.
Okay, let's go. We're signing up for that, obviously.
I think so. If it's on
if
the schedule, but we have to. But Carol and John have to sign up as well.
Oh, I know Carolyn listened to our podcast because she texted me after the last episode. She's like, "Tell Charlie he's got to keep his chin up. Like that was a great run." So this is that's not a gauntlet that we're throwing down. is it a gauntlet? I wouldn't call it a gauntlet.
Maybe, yeah.
But we'll try to podcast versus podcast. We'll see what we can do here. Us against them again.
Yeah.
Johnny's gonna run a PB or something just to beat us.
He ran a pretty quick 5K the other day.
Oh my God, he's fast.
He's getting there. As long as, well, I mean, as long as, well, there's a couple. So, man, there's a couple fast guys, anyways. But yeah.
So maybe next episode we could start figuring out everything we want to do over the next while. Well, you've got clarity. You've got bikes.
Well, to me, it's Nice. That's it. And the other things will be fun, obviously. Some triathlons and all that will be fun. So, yeah.
Remember when you talked about how, like, to be successful in a marathon build, you kind of have to, like, kind of get to the edge of what you're able to do and not kind of blow yourself up and just have it just long enough that you're committed and you do the whole thing. Like that was, it was like getting to be long at the end there, right? When you're doing.
Yeah. Well, for me, I feel like I would have benefited with another like 4 weeks. I think I needed, well, just, I had so far to come from the 777 and all that. So I would have gotten an extra 4 weeks.
I love the Tuesday, Thursday, or whatever. What was I doing? Tuesday, Thursday speed workouts. They were so fun. I just absolutely love them. And I'm looking forward to that already for, like, I don't know. I don't want to stop doing speed work. Like I want to stay fast.
Maybe take a week off or something.
No, I will. I'll do whatever Patrick says. He'll ask me for my goals and I'll tell him that. So man, in 72 hours in London, we saw 2 musicals, 2 stand-up comedy shows, 2 piano bars. I didn't go to all of them. We went to see the FA Cup semifinal game, Nottingham Forest versus Manchester City or something. It was mental, that game. And we also did, what else did we do? I did a marathon. And we saw the Montreal Canadiens lose at 2:30 in the morning or whatever it was, 3:30 in the morning at a bar. We're like, hey, any chance there's a sports bar? Like there's one that shows Canadian hockey. We go, it's like a casino type sports bar. We walk in, UFC on every TV. There's no chance we're ever gonna I'm like, any chance you have the Canadian hockey game on? He's like, ice hockey? Yeah, ice hockey. He goes, yeah, it's on this TV right here. There's a huge, like 8-foot screen. And I'm like, here? There's a commercial. And I look around the corner, 2 guys with their Montreal Canadian
I still have mental scars of that game. They should have had that game.
Ovi should have got suspended on that hit, man. I don't know what happened, but like that was terrible.
I feel like they should have gotten more power plays potentially.
Oh God. Anyways, I don't want to be one of those fans. But anyways, we watched that game.
Anyways, fun. They played all right. I still think they got a chance. Better than the Jets.
Better than the Jets, yeah.
No, I'm kidding. The Jets are 2-2, so the Jets have a good chance too.
Oh, but our goalie can't save a beach ball.
He needs to play. Like, how come
he's a different goalie in the playoffs?
What's going on with that guy?
Something's going on. He's not the same person.
I mean, I look at the replays and a lot of them, and I've played in goal now, so I can say a lot of them he has no chance. But I feel like he's the type of guy though that
he saves.
He makes some of those no chance.
A lot of those, yeah.
Anyways, so
we're talking about our Winnipeg Jets. This is Canadian hockey. This is National Hockey League playoff. I'm going to go to the game tomorrow. Yeah, so anyways, it was a fun trip to London. We probably jammed the most amount of stuff we possibly could have jammed in a weekend. It was so fun. I love this so much. I love that I was focused on my marathon and they still had fun. I had a blast, and then we celebrated after. It was so fun. I love doing this.
All right. Congrats. I
Thank you.
Gotta go here. But let's talk next week.
Okay. Next week we recap. Charlie and I are doing the Winnipeg Police Service relay. So we do a quarter marathon each, which ends up being a half marathon combined. We're going to see what we can do. We'd like to finish top 10? We're going to do the best we can.
8-minute miles. Here we go.
Let's go. 8-minute miles. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, give us a review. We appreciate your love. Tell your friends. And don't forget, more miles, less pace. Let's go.